Hello, I'm Ben Miracle. Welcome to Where Hollywood is Taken Seriously. Today, I, along with my guest, Steven Sibilia, will be reviewing the movie Ant-Man and the Wasp, which is directed by Peyton Reed and is the 20th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, also known as the MCU. I will warn you that there are spoilers in this review.
Okay. So, this movie is directed by Peyton Reed, right? Which I thought originally didn't direct the first one because I just didn't know who did. And it threw me off that it was the same director because this movie's a lot different in that it's not as good as the first one. In terms of story especially, this one feels rushed when the first one didn't feel rushed. The first one felt like it was a fleshed out character, everything in there. They had the characters, they had the story, they had the villain, everything was done. This movie had that, but it was just thrown in instead of organized. It was rushed instead of taking its time along with it. It was just weird almost.
It was. And, we have 3 Marvel movies this year.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
I think so, yeah.
And all of them have already been released.
Yeah.
And if you go back to February, when Black Panther came out, that was a dark movie.
Exactly, yeah.
This was not a dark movie.
Absolutely
at
not.
all.
Yeah.
And then we have Infinity War, which was, family fun, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
But this was, I think, Disney and Marvel saying, okay, we're going to make Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Okay.
But it's going to be geared towards kids and not as dark as Black Panther.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's where they made a mistake.
Yeah, because
story-wise.
Yeah.
And villains.
Yeah, with Ghost especially, is this character who she wants to live. She needs to heal. She's dying.
Right.
They could have made that a lot darker and more serious with more screen time. More screen time for that character first of all, and then just less screen time for a certain character. What's Walton Goggins' character? What is his name?
Sonny Birch, I believe.
Sonny Birch, that's his name.
I mean, see, that's how unmemorable his character
exactly.
is.
He's got, no one remembers his name. He's pointless, too. He's just there because they need him in the end to make the end battle difficult for Ant-Man and the Wasp. And it doesn't make sense. It would have been much more difficult if they just had Wasp there. They would have had to fight her. That's difficult for them. Don't try to throw this other character in there just because you need him for the end. It kind of seems like they had an idea for the end with Ghost in it, but then for some reason, it wasn't enough for them, and so they just threw this character in there just to have him along the road, I guess.
Yeah, it's just like the villain. It's almost like you didn't even have a villain.
Yeah,
in a way.
Not really, yeah.
Yeah.
She wasn't really. I mean, I could see what they were trying to do. They wanted to make it like she wasn't really the villain. Maybe like she was the hero, but just had different motives or needed more things. But they could have done a much better job with that.
Yeah, and they could have taken the Bill Foster?
Oh,
by
Bill
Lawrence
Foster,
Fishburne.
yeah.
And they could have done a lot more with his character.
Yeah, he could have been in it more, yeah.
I don't know if this is a fair statement, but it was almost like she was a pawn.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he could have been a bigger character than just Hank Pym and him
just bickering.
Not being friends anymore.
Yeah.
Which leads into Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
And Lawrence Fishburne had some of the best scenes together in this movie.
Definitely, yeah. They were the standout, probably best actors in the movie too, because they're seasoned actors and they're good at acting, and everybody else is good at acting too, but they aren't really. I wouldn't say they're not trying, but they're not giving it their all. Basically, they're not really like pouring everything. Actually, Ghost, I would give it Ghost. Hannah John Kamen played her. She did a really good job. Especially though, Paul Rudd almost doesn't have to really try a lot because and this is the problem I have with Ant-Man's character, is that it's just Paul Rudd as with an Ant-Man costume, basically. And, I mean, I get it. Ant-Man's supposed to be a goofy character. Paul Rudd's a goofy actor. But you could give him something more than just Paul Rudd. I mean,
yeah,
it definitely, all right.
And I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of fans will agree with that.
Yeah, it shows, especially in this movie, too, just him being Paul Rudd, just walking around, being the dumb guy, being the this, being the that. It feels not really...
the whole thing with being under house arrest.
Yeah, that part, too. They just needed that, basically. And that could have, I mean, I was glad they didn't spend too much time on that. They, like, got him out sooner rather than later, like more in the beginning of the movie. But they rushed that too. A lot of it felt like rush. Like we end up from this point, and then to this point, and then to this point. And it's like, I would like to see just a little bit more of explanation as to how we got here. Explanation as to, like, there's this one scene, right? Mm-hmm. Where Ant-Man and the Wasp and Michael Douglas are, like, trapped with Ghost and Bill Foster.
Yeah.
And, you know, they open up the jar of Altoids or whatever it is, and all the ants come out and they escape. Well, they just, like, run off camera, and then it cuts back to them in their car. It's like, well, how did we get here? Like, can we just have a little bit more? Maybe make it challenging for them? It seems like they want to do that throughout the movie, but they don't.
Right.
Yeah, they don't really, like, try hard or put enough effort into what they want to present. It just kind of feels, you know, over the shoulder. We got that one out. Now let's move on.
Right, and that's not acceptable.
Yeah, it's disappointing.
And it was entertaining. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was. It was.
You know, would I go and see it again? No. Would I get it on DVD? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Because just to have it.
Yeah.
The action was good though, and they did not abuse the CGI.
Yeah, Peyton Reed does do a good job with directing the action and messing with proportions because, you know, they shrink and they grow and everything kind of changes in the city. And some of the scenes where they do that are cool, and I like those ones too. But some of the fight scenes, no, the fight scenes are good. They are good. They're entertaining.
Yeah, it's just the story.
Yeah, the story's the
could
main.
Have been better.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure.
Yeah, and the characters are fine. They're not special, really. Like in Black Panther, you had good characters like Shuri, and even Killmonger was good. In Infinity War, there's a lot of good characters because there's a lot of people in it. In Ant-Man and the Wasp, I mean, they tried to make Wasp a cool character, but she wasn't that cool. I mean, and it was like, they could have, if they had fleshed out their characters more. There's no memorable characters in this movie.
Except for Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, except for them, right? And it's like, they could have made it a lot better. Like, with their characters, they could have made it people, oh, I want you to remember Ghost as a great villain. We want to follow in that path of the MCU's great villain train. They have Killmonger, they have Thanos. Earlier, they had Ego the Living Planet. And then they had the Vulture from Spider-Man. And now Ghost kind of fails that, and it's not that good of a villain. Even though her motive is good, it's just not explored enough to make us really care. Really.
That's true.
Yeah.
And just getting back to the story quickly, the idea of going into that realm.
Oh, the quantum realm.
Yeah, the quantum realm.
Yeah.
To try to save Michelle Pfeiffer's character.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty good story plot.
Yeah,
I really liked that.
Yeah,
I thought that was good. And I thought, you know what's going to happen?
Oh.
They're going to kill off Michael Douglas's character.
Yeah.
And she'll live.
Yep.
Which, of course, I was wrong.
Yeah. It was, I actually kind of did, I agree with you. I thought he was going to go too. But then, also what I didn't like is when Ghost is trying to use the quantum energy to, like, heal herself, and then it shows Janet Van Dyne kind of being pulled apart, basically. That's rushed. It's not really done right, I have to say. I mean, it's like you could have had it much better. Make it more suspenseful. Make it like the characters are actually in danger.
And the comedy wasn't funny.
Yeah,
it wasn't
funny
there.
at
It
all.
was one scene, maybe.
Yeah, no, it was, we had like one, maybe two. There was too many jokes that didn't land or that weren't delivered correctly, so they would land. Yeah, there was lines that could have been said better or acted better, and that would have landed better. But other than that, I mean, yeah, it definitely was not one of the funnier ones.
No.
Yeah.
What do you give it for a grade?
I'd give it a B minus. I'll give it a B minus.
Yes. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
I give Ant-Man and the Wasp a B minus. Thanks for watching, and I hope you keep watching my future reviews. You can like Where Hollywood is Taken Seriously on Facebook. You can also email me at wherehollywoodisTakenSeriously@gmail.com with your thoughts and opinions on Ant-Man and the Wasp. And remember, this is where Hollywood is taken seriously.